Est-Ouest 91.7. RM1, it's 9 o'clock. The news with Aries Stewart. Good morning, Aries.
Good morning, Sophie.
The headlines.
Financial Crimes Commission shaken by the Mami Ravatomango scandal after Commissioner Junaid Haroun Fakim is asked to step down. Dr. Patrick Yamini sworn in as the 6th president of Seychelles. Jean-Michel Giraud to go to court to challenge the election of Richard Papy as president of the Mauritius Olympic Committee. Tragedy in Goodlands sees woman in her 30s allegedly killed by her husband. 2 more road fatalities recorded over the weekend, with a 24-year-old man dying in a car fire in Suriname and a woman from Vakwa passing away days after being hit. In world news, 2 suspects arrested in connection with the 88 million euros Louvre crown jewel heist. And in sports, Mauritian cyclist Kimberly Lecour-Pinard ends her season on a high note after her win in Johannesburg. The Financial Crimes Commission has been shaken by the Mami Ravatomango scandal. One of its 4 commissioners, Junaid Haroun Fakim, has been asked to step down following allegations of his involvement in the case. He was reportedly informed on Saturday morning by a high-ranking official that his services were no longer required and that he was now unwelcome at the Rejri Triangle. According to the information available, Junaid Haroun Fakim was implicated in the statement recorded on Friday by another suspect believed to be Nasser Biki. The commissioner was preparing to leave the country today with a scheduled transit in Dubai. However, a report to departure notice was issued against him. Officially, the commissioner tendered his resignation on Saturday, citing personal reasons less than 3 months after joining the institution. The FCC confirmed this information in a press release issued yesterday afternoon, though it offered no explanation for his decision. Dr. Patrick Yamini officially took office yesterday as the 6th president of Seychelles. The swearing-in ceremony was held in Victoria. Several dignitaries attended the public ceremony, including Mauritian Prime Minister Dr. Navin Ramgoolam and India's Vice President Chandrapuram Radhakrishan. Before the ceremony, the 2 leaders held a meeting during which discussions focused on the economic assistance package granted by India to Mauritius. They also discussed fuel supply, with Dr. Navin Ramgoolam confirming to Megan Ponapanaikyan that Mauritius will henceforth source its fuel directly from India without intermediaries. We take a listen to more on this report.
The Linite Stadium was filled with capacity for the inauguration of Dr. Patrick Yamini as the new president of Seychelles. The ceremony, which began at 6 p.m., was attended by regional leaders and dignitaries, including the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Dr. Navin Ramgoolam, and his wife, Veena Ramgoolam, India's Vice President, C.P. Radhakrishnan, and the Prime Minister of Tanzania.
I, Matthew Antonio Patrick Yamini.
The president-elect first took the oath of allegiance. To the cheers of the Seychellois people gathered to witness this historic moment. Dr. Patrick Yamini then took the presidential oath, followed by a presidential salute from the Guard of Honor and a 21-gun salute in his honor as the 6th president of the Republic of Seychelles. In his address, President Yamini reiterated his commitment to uniting the nation, explaining that holding the inauguration ceremony at the stadium symbolized his desire to be close to the people. He also paid tribute to the citizens of Seychelles for their contribution to the nation's progress over the past 50 years.
C'est avec beaucoup la fierté et un grand honneur qui me déboute devant vous autres à ce moment, le date historique de Saladoa. Il signifiant que l'inauguration peut prendre place ici, devant la nation, le stade l'unité. Ça non lui-même, il mauvais pour unifier Seychelles.
The event unfolded with a colorful cultural program marking a memorable day in Seychelles history.
Jean-Michel Giraud will file an injunction in court on Tuesday to contest the election of Richard Papy as president of the Mauritius Olympic Committee. The president of the Mauritius Tennis Federation is angered that the opinions of several competent authorities, including the Ministry of Sports, the Registrar of Associations, and the Attorney General's Office, were disregarded. The election committee nevertheless went ahead despite several sports federations being clearly in irregular standing, a fact the court will now have to examine to determine whether these elections are invalid. And tragedy in the north. Natasha Cornet, a woman in her 30s, was allegedly killed yesterday by her husband after committing the act. The suspect, a resident of Goodlands, called his 17-year-old son to tell him that he intended to end his own life. He was then arrested in the early hours of this morning by the Pamplemousse CID. The police are investigating. And in other news, the road claimed 2 more victims this weekend. A 24-year-old lost his life in a road accident in Suriname. The car he was driving went off the road yesterday afternoon before catching fire. Emergency services were called to the scene but could only confirm the young man's death. And 4 days after another accident, a Vakwa resident passed away after being hit by a car driven by a man in his 40s. The victim was on the sidewalk, sweeping in front of her home when the accident occurred. According to the driver's statement to police, the crash happened while he was attempting to overtake a van. He reportedly swerved to the right to avoid a collision and in doing so struck the woman. The investigation is ongoing. And it's 9:06. You're listening to RM1. When we move to world news, authorities have arrested 2 people connected to the robbing of the precious Louvre crown jewels in Paris, one of whom was preparing to board a flight, say French media outlets. The 2 men are believed to be from the Parisian suburb of Seine-Saint-Denis and known for other previous robberies. They will now be interrogated by police during 96 hours. Paris prosecutor said investigators from the anti-gang brigade made the arrest. She ruled in her statement the premature leak of information, saying it could hinder the work of over 100 investigators mobilized to recover the stolen jewels and apprehend all of the perpetrators. Last week, several thieves broke into the world-famous museum in broad daylight. They used a basket lift to access a balcony leading to the Apollo Gallery, forced open a window, and broke display cases to steal the jewels valued at an estimated 88 million euros. And finally in sports, where we conclude with a brilliant performance from Kimberly Lecourt-Pinard. The Mauritian cyclist ended her season on a high note yesterday by winning the Ride Johannesburg race, a fiercely contested event. She crossed the finish line 1 minute and 19 seconds ahead of Lucy Young after 2 hours and 37 minutes of effort. This victory crowns an exceptional year for Kimberly Lecourt-Pinard, who has proudly flown the Mauritian flag on the international stage. She returns home this Monday evening for a well-deserved break. That's all from me this morning. Thanks so much for listening. Stay tuned now to the Intimate playlist until 10 a.m.